this morning. It is a back thought on the events in the month of March 1967. By the first week, I had come across an ad in the Malayalam newspaper about University of Kerala planning the recruitment process of two lecturers in geology. Well, it was a surprise and to some degree an excitement in the sense that I can try again for a lecturer's job, a teacher's job in the university. Well, as soon as I read about it, and I planned a trip back home to Trivandrum. And by the weekend, I took a bus, night bus, after requesting for 2 days casual leave. That is Monday and Tuesday in the following week, and reached home. It was an overnight trip, and I reached home by morning of the next day morning around 8 o'clock. Well, those days, mornings and evenings or days and nights do not make quite a bit of difference because, you are in that age group. So, one good thing that had happened was my brother had gone to the university office and purchased what is called the application form set. Those days, for some reason, university used to sell a set of 5 applications for any teacher's job, and only one set of supporting documents the candidate will have to provide, but all the individual sheets or copies have to be written and filled up and signed and whatever with the declarations and so on. In other words, one job, 5 applications, and one set of supporting documents. Well, I did that very meticulously, and then also I had a set, not only one set, 2 or 3 sets of the so-called supporting documents attested by a gazetted officer, like what it was to be done those days, because nobody believes the other person. So I had it ready at hand, and I attached everything properly. And right at home itself, I decided I will send one advance copy, and with all the supporting documents, and another 4 with the supporting documents through the Directorate of Geology. Monday morning around 10:30, I cycled over to the public office opposite a museum where the Directorate of Geology was housed. And by 11 or 10:30 or 11 o'clock around that time, I just got permission to see the director, and the director was as usual staring down on his desk. He did not look at my face, even though I said, "Good morning, sir," and so those such things. And he did not offer me a seat that I could sit comfortably and talk to him. Well, those things are very little things, and it doesn't matter to me at all when I look back. Then I told, in a few sentences, what the purpose of my visit to headquarters was, and I handed over the set of applications, and I informed him in a written request that this may be kindly forwarded to the registrar of the University of Kerala. I also mentioned that I had forwarded already an advance copy of the application. And this, my boss, Director of Geology, Sri C.V. Paulos, nodded his head, and then he did not utter even a single word. So I had nothing else to do, and so I said, "Sir, I am leaving. Thank you, sir." Then I walked out. I went to the so-called administrative section of the office of the Director of Geology, and said hello to some of the guys who know me well. And to everybody else, I said, "Hello, how are you?" Things of this sort. How is your stay in Kozhikode and work, etc. And I told the section officer that I had submitted an application forwarding to the University of Kerala. I am seeking a job in the university. Well, luckily, the university had allowed something like April middle, 15th or 10th of middle, and the last date of receipt of application complete in all respects. Well, then I thanked all of the people, who I knew there, and then walked over to the another, hall where technical staff was seated. I met Mr. Ayappan Nair, who was then a geologist and recently promoted. Along when we were 5 assistant geologists were recruited, he was promoted as a geologist in charge of the headquarters office, and there were other guys also in this office. Most of them I did not know much about or well about. Anyway, I wished them by saying good morning and how are you, things of that sort. Then I told Ayappan Nair that I had submitted a form like that for a job in the University of Kerala to the director. And Ayappan Nair immediately, what was the response? I said, as usual, he was looking down at the desk. That's all. And then I just, got out of that room or hall, and then slowly walked to the what is called the post office in the public office building. From there, I forwarded under registered post with acknowledgement due, whatever, one application with complete what is called the supporting documents. And that was the job of that day. Then I went home and cycled back and comfortably took a nap. And in the evening, as usual, I just walked out of the house and walked around the temple area and saw some of my juniors in the college and some of the peers in the college who were with in different subjects of study anyway. So the next day was Tuesday. Tuesday was also a holiday for me because I had taken 2 days of casual leave. I'm supposed to be back in the Kozhikode office only in the morning of Wednesday. So in the evening, I took a bus back to Kozhikode, via Ernakulam, with a stop at Ernakulam, or a bus change the bus, because one bus will take me from Thiruvananthapuram to Ernakulam, and from Ernakulam to Payyanur, another bus. Anyway, by around 7:30 or so, I reached what is called Meenchandam, our local town where the Maliyadi estate is located. And from there, of course, rested for half an hour or so. Then I went and ate, of course, because the Iyer will open the canteen only at 8 o'clock. And then took a bath and then got dressed up and joined the crew or the team. Radhakrishnan was not in town. Janardhanan and I took a bus over to our office in Chalapur. Okay, but that was the second week actually of March. By the close of the second week, our geologist called us in and told us that during the 4th week of March there will be a Japanese team visiting Kozhikode and looking up the Cherupa, Bestial and the eliyotemala iron ore deposits, because those days Japanese were looking for properties, iron ore properties all over the world, and the preferred locations were in the eastern hemisphere naturally because of the transportation, etc. Already they are purchasing iron ore from Madhya Pradesh and our iron ore belt of India, well known by Ladila iron ore deposits. And then of course they were the guests of the state and directly under the control of, or the hosting was played by the Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, then presided over by one MRC warrior. And there was some correspondence. There was no phone actually, no connection between the regional office and the head office, and our geologist considered it as a blessing because otherwise he will get disturbed by phone calls from the director's office or director himself. Anyway, then we got a letter in the next week and with the schedule of activities of the visiting team in. Kozhikode. And then, what we did, we got ourselves, put together, oriented ourselves toward the iron ore because I had a trip in the previous month to company to the iron ore area with Mr. Joseph, the UNESCO scientist, geologist, etc. Fine, a fiasco it was because this man walked away with the topography sheet. Luckily for everyone else, it was very safely and securely returned to the geologist's office. Anyway, we needed a topographic sheet again for the visit of the Japanese team because topographic sheet is one of the very important tools of a field geologist. In other words, that makes you sure that you are in the right place in the right location. So we studied the topographic sheets and about the eliyotemala deposit, and all that we knew is about the occurrence. And we also knew there is an occurrence of iron ore in the West Hill, which is in the perimeter of the town, and Tirupa, that is in the Mau road beyond the medical college hospital. Then we made notes on whatever we had to be explaining to this team, etc. The team is Japanese team rather, is supposed to have a geologist, or mining engineer, and some kind of a diplomatic person, a person who works for the Indian consulate or Indian embassy of Japan. So the fourth week rather, Monday morning, we were supposed to be in the beach hotel, Trivandrum. That is how we were directed by the KSIDC and Mr. Warrior. And we went in there, we saw this team, and we introduced ourselves. Our geologist also accompanied, and geologist Gopalakrishnan Nair told Mr. Warrior that these two young people, they are very familiar with the area that the Japanese team will take a look at, and he will not therefore accompany us. So Mr. Warrior told us that we will leave this hotel around say before 10 o'clock, and of course naturally we were prepared for that trip. And he asked us what are anything else we have in mind so that our trip will be smooth and successful. I said, what we need is lunch and water, or something to eat and something to drink. Otherwise, if on the hill there is nothing available, no habitation. Then I said, and of course, naturally, in consultation with Janardhan, we have two options in our work in the eliyotemala. One, we can take a long walk longitudinally along the top of the ridge, looking at the different types of occurrences. Or else, well, that will take a very long time and a longer walk, and people will get tired, obviously. If we started at, say, for example, 10 o'clock, or no, that day it was 11 o'clock, that is the time we are supposed to reach the outcrop, or a village which is very close to the northern end of what is called the eliyotemala. So, or else what we can do is we can take 3 cross traverses, and which will not be very difficult in the sense, only there will be a climb and there will be a descent, and we will go. In other words, we get an opportunity, the team gets an opportunity to have a look at 3 different sections, 3 different opportunities to see the appearance of the deposit, etc., etc. How good it is, how deep, we don't know, because drilling was done yet. So Warrior said, okay, he will discuss the matter with the Japanese geologist also, and then decide whatever it is. So then next thing was driving toward the eliyotemala, the village in the foothill. We were piloting the team of 2 ambassador cars with Warrior and the Japanese geologist, and food, etc., etc. So once we reached the small village or small town, which is a village, we wanted to field guides, because that is always needed. They have to do the portering as well as guiding us, as well as piloting the team along the correct path. People locally will know how to go up, come down, etc. So we started out by 11, quarter after 11 from the foothills. And we climbed up. It is, I would say, 250 feet up minimum. And then we saw a lot of boulders with iron ore. The Japanese took a lot of time in inspecting those boulders, and then in their own tongue, they were talking about, it should have come from the top or somewhere in the middle, whatever. So we told that we don't know anything about the structure of the deposits. But only thing is, the longitudinal ridge means there will be probably no extension downward or extension downward, which has got to be proved only by a geological investigation and an exploratory drilling. So once we completed the first traverse, the second traverse, before the second traverse, we had to climb down. Climbing down from a hill is very tough, especially along a hill like Charupa Hill, or any hill for that matter. We had to be very careful. We were careful. Nothing happened. Untoward happened. And then, we boarded the car, went to the next point where we could start the traverse. By that time, when we boarded the car to the next point of traverse, beginning of traverse, it was like 1 o'clock. Well, we had something to bite and some water to drink, and then we climbed up. Once we climbed up, we saw better exposures, better floats, and better iron ore reef, quartz magnetite reef. Quartz was only very subsidiary. Mostly it was iron ore. And not only that, when because quartz magnetite ore is exposed, all the quartz will escape due to weathering, due to physical as well as chemical weathering. Anyway, we completed our trip to the summit of the hill. Probably that was the tallest point in the hill. And then, the Japanese were very happy. They did not stop as much time as they stopped in the previous traverse, first cross traverse, because it is repeated the same things. Then they were discussing about their inference about what they saw, impressions about what they saw, and especially the geologist in the team was talking a lot about the deposit, and that is what we gathered. Because then we did not know whether it is a positive or a negative impression that was conveyed. Then we walked down, and when we came down, it was after quarter after 3. And then I said, we will go to the next stop and go for the next traverse, the third and the last traverse for that day. Well, then this was conveyed to the visiting Japanese team by Mr. Warrior, and they said, this is enough, because it is a repeat of the same thing, and we will go back to the hotel. Well, of course, we were also happy, and we drove back to Beach Hotel in Calicut. That is where, Beach Hotel those days was one of the attractive places because it overlooks the Calicut beach. So when we got into there, Mr. Warrior said, take rest for a while before you go away. So we sat down in the rest area, in the lobby of the hotel, let us say, for that matter. And then we were given cold beer. We enjoyed the beer. And then Mr. Warrior told us that we will meet for dinner that night at 8 o'clock. And before that time, there will be a meeting also. So please bring our geologist also for that meeting. So we said that yes, and we departed from the hotel. And on our way, we stopped over at the office and told Gopalakrishnan Nair sir that this is a plan and it is a dinner meeting, so you have to be ready by 7 o'clock so that we will be in the hotel by 7:30 and on time for dinner. And not only that, there will be a meeting of the discussion with the geologist team about this deposit, at least with some more details. So with that car, we went to our Valayadi estate, and the Valayadi estate, we had a shower, we refreshed ourselves, and then got dressed up. Well, after all, it's a slack shirt and what is called a trouser, and of course shoes. That's all. Then we went back to our office. Gopalakrishnan Nair sir was already there, and we all went to the office. Hotel, beach hotel, and on time by 7:30 we were there. Then, to our surprise, what we noticed was there was Mr. Kalishwaran, who was secretary to the government in charge of industries department. And Mr. Kalishwaran, we introduced ourselves as geological group or geologist group from Kozhikode regional office, and we were in the field, etc., etc. He greeted us and asked us, about the deposit, and again we were offered a beer, and then of course Nair does not take a tart, rather touch, a teetotaler, and of course we had no hesitation to say yes, and then Kalishwaran told us, let us go to another room, a conference type, a mini conference room. And we went in there following him. Then the Japanese team came, and there was a formal meeting. And this meeting was actually chaired by Mr. Kalishwaran. Mr. Warrior introduced the group to Kalishwaran, and then Kalishwaran took over as the presiding person of the meeting, and told the Japanese team that Kerala state will render all possible help in order to make this project materialize, provided geologically it is proved, and the tonnages are the reserve is also proved. And the Japanese nodded, and Kalishwaran also extended an invitation to the Japanese team that they may visit this Kozhikode iron deposit by December, and between March and December the state will do necessary things, or the whatever called the geological exploration, drilling, etc., through the assistance of the Geological Survey of India, because they are the only people in our country who are mandated to do the exploration and estimation. So then, of course, the meeting was concluded, and then we moved over to the lunch part of it, and we finished the lunch, and then said goodbye, good night, and departed to our homes, respective homes.